So let's just discuss this thing about words for a minute. What do we know about words? What do you know about them?
They sometimes hurt.
Words are hurtful.
Only if I let them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they stay inside you.
Only if you let it.
Some words really can't hurt you. If you think about the word, then it can't hurt you.
It can't hurt you, so you inspect it, right? Anybody believe that? We're going to show you how the power of words work in a minute. My stepfather, remember I told you a story about him? I've never really told this story before. Maybe once in maybe a couple hundred presentations. My stepfather was a very bright man. And he could see that when I was going to go to high school, or junior high school, I was going to have a problem. And he actually wanted to get me ready for it. And my whole family, my grandparents, hated him for it. They thought he was picking on me uncontrollably. And in this case, I think my dad was right. You see, when I was 10 years old, my feet were size 10. When I was 11, my feet were size 11. When I was 12, my feet were size 12. When I was 13, my feet were size 13. When I was 14, my feet became size 14. When I was 15, my feet became size 15. How many people think I didn't want to turn 20? So I had these huge feet. Now, so when I went to junior high, my dad knew that grade school was going to be tough. But, high school was going to be tougher. He says, that's where they're going to be ruthless on you. That was his thinking. Now remember, he grew up in a tough time. And he kept making fun of my feet. He said, hey, Sasquatch, come here. And, you know, in his way, he thought he was doing me some good. And I didn't really appreciate it at the first part. And I didn't appreciate it because he started that around grade 6. And really went at me. And he said, hey, Sasquatch, hey, Bigfoot, hey, Galoot. And the thing about it, I was so uncoordinated, I would trip in the house all the time. I would knock stuff over. And he'd say, oh, you big galoot. Oh, you know, you're uncoordinated. And my grandparents took him aside and said, what are you doing to that boy? And he had his reasons. So now I get to grade 7. You know, walk into grade 7. First thing they make fun of is what? My feet. Guys go, hey, Bigfoot. And I looked at the guys and went, is that all you got? I go, I've had far worse. My stepfather, in some way, in a strange way, and he's dead now, so I can't really ever ask him that question, but in a strange way, he was getting me ready for what he knew was going to come. So really, grade 7 and 8 was pivotal for me, and is it any surprise then that when I finally heard the word retard, and then was able to actually dissect it and pull it back, I was already conditioned, my dad was conditioning me to do that from a younger age. So if you called me Darth or Garth Vader, I'm like, cool. Now, if you were trying to pick on me with that word, if you wanted me to make me feel bad, I go, right on. Like, what's the chances of you hanging out?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you a quick story about my daughter, grade 9. Abby, now you have to understand, I'm 6'6", my wife is 6 foot. We adopted Abby, remember the one we adopted, the first one? We met her birth mother before Abby was born. And the birth mother was only 17. And she was raised by her mother, who had her when she was 17. And we met her through different people. I don't know how it all came together. And I remember sitting with the little girl, and I have her name, and we have a letter, and she said to me, I want my daughter to have a better chance at having a better life than I did, because she said she had to work, her mother worked too hard, and you know, it was tough for a mom